Hello, welcome to the next episode of Falklands in Focus podcast. Yeah, I all surprised you then, didn't I? Because I pressed record before you were ready.
I was in the middle of reading the...
And also, this isn't Falklands in Focus podcast. It's Meanwhile in the
Oh,
Falklands.
is that, what did I say then?
Oh,
Get it
you got it wrong.
Okay, should we start again?
Nope.
I'm going to keep all that in. So, before we even start and go any further, if you are listening to this and you're a business and you think, do you know what, I'd quite like to advertise, you give us some money, we'll advertise your business here. Give us free pens.
We want freebies. That's what we want.
Is this based on what Katie said last week? Is she got another company get in touch with her?
Yeah, I know. What's all that about?
Not
I need to get on
bitter at all.
Instagram. That's what I need to do. I need to get on Instagram. That's obviously where it's all happening. Anyway.
You've set up another Instagram, have you not? Or was
No.
that in the early stages of
No, I haven't. I
the
need
top
to talk
secret one?
I need to talk to Katie about that, whether I start a new Instagram or whether I just continue with my old one and just, I don't know. Things beyond my knowledge, to be perfectly honest. So, it's been a busy old week. It's now almost midday on Friday.
Woo.
How much work have we done this morning?
Oh,
Not a lot, really.
no.
Mind you, last weekend was just the madness that was the... what time were you at MPC last weekend?
I got to MPC for 9:30, so
that's
I was up at 7 and out the door just after 8.
Yeah, and full day as well, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah, I didn't get back in until about 5:30, and then I was on the radio from 7 till 10.
Okay, do you want to put your
long
mic the
day.
other side, because you're looking at me a lot and your mic's on the other side of
Okie
your face,
dokie.
of your jumper.
Now I'm
Lovely.
going to have this all loud as I touch my microphone.
Yeah, there we go. We're keeping all this in.
listener.
We're keeping all that in.
It's behind you.
So on Saturday, that was last Saturday,
Yeah.
you and Katie went up to MPC for the whole day. I mean, we were talking, because Hannah and I did Sunday,
Yeah.
and we felt, not that it is a competition, but we felt that we covered, that there were probably more sports in Stanley than there were at MPC.
How many sports do you think you guys covered? Not that it's a competition.
Right.
Yeah.
There was
Name them.
the cycling, the
basketball.
shooting, the basketball, the deck hockey, the 10k run, 3k run,
Golf.
shooting.
Oh,
Did I say shooting?
it's like the generation game. Cuddly
Football.
toy,
Football.
coffee maker. Do you know what? Only people of my age group are going to get that.
There was something. What else was there? I feel like
By the blank
Badminton.
look on your faces, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Generation game.
Yeah, there was definitely more sports on the Sunday.
I think so
And also
too.
you covered the 3K, because there were 3-4 kids sports on the Saturday that I just didn't touch.
No.
I was like, no,
But
that's
it's
stretching
difficult. It's
myself.
difficult
I
doing
was
an
like,
event like that, don't you think? Because you've got the events. You're right. The
Yeah.
events kind of cross over each other. Do you know what I mean? And so you can't actually catch a whole bit of an event and report on it until the end score, because then you've got another event that's overlapping. We found on the Sunday. I don't know whether you found that. With
yeah, well,
yours
that's
as well.
I agree with you completely, and that's why we took a completely different approach to it. And I know you guys had a few more sports, and it was a bit more spread out. But the way we had it was there was one sport outside of MPC, and that was the kayaking. So I went and did that one first, and it overlapped with bowling. So I went and had to check out the bowling after, but there wasn't really
Difficult
that much going
angles on a bowling, I would imagine.
Yeah, and on top of that, it was more for the kids. And even though it was a competition, it really wasn't. It was so that some of the parents could take the kids aside whilst
that's
their
so
counterparts
great.
went and actually competed
Yeah.
in proper sporting events.
Oh no,
essentially.
that is lovely.
So did the points from that actually count towards the main points
No,
or not?
no, none of the
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
So the 3K didn't, the bowling didn't, the assault course didn't, the kids football didn't. So none of those counted towards it. But what I did was I got Katie to get down all the results, and I just filmed 30, 40 different shots of that sport, and I just knew that she was never going to need any more than that on the edit. So we got that, and then we got an interview. We would make sure we were there at the end of each event. So when the kayaking ended, bang, there for an interview. When the ball hockey ended, bang, there for an interview. So I'd gotten a couple of clips. And whilst Katie was still making notes, I'd run over to squash and film there, look at my watch going, okay, ball hockey's about to end, run back to ball hockey, interview Marcus and get the end of it. Then we go back to squash for the end of squash, and then interview like that. So it was very back and forth, you're right.
Yeah, you're quite lucky though, because it was all in one.
Yeah, but
with
it
us,
was
shooting was down in the middle of nowhere. Then we had cycling that was, you were off at Lady Liz for a bit, and then
It was knackering in a
down
different
the other
way.
end of town, and you know when you're like,
It was knackering in a different way because
Yeah.
even at a jog, everything was like 5-10 minutes apart at Mount Pleasant.
It's all
so
about
I'm
us,
jogging up
isn't
and down
it?
the
It's all
corridors.
about us, and it wasn't actually about the sports people.
it's just about us and how hard we work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No.
people know about the sport. They can find the sport on Falklands in Focus. What they don't know is how we managed to acquire all that footage. That's the important bit.
Week 415, if you're watching along with this listener, or listeners, because I know there's actually more than one of you out there. So, yeah, of week 415, 2 massive packages. We're nearly running an hour.
I know,
We're nearly
ludicrously
running
long
an
this week.
hour this week. So we bumped a couple of things
It's a
because
good bang for
actually
the buck.
we're coming up
I
to
said
some
before-
difficult. Hang on,
Oh,
we're coming
no.
up to some difficult times with FITV because of people going off places.
I remembered something that I should have said before, so
Go
I'm
on.
interrupting you to
Say
say it. Speaking of my running up and down the corridors at Mount Pleasant used to have the longest continuous corridor in the world.
Oh really?
No.
Yeah, the Mount Pleasant complex used to be the longest continuous corridor in the world, and it got overtaken a decade ago by some other building built somewhere.
Is it the long one that goes right along
When-
from the cafe all the way to the end
But
of
it
the...
doesn't just go from the cafe. It goes from the cafe around the whole complex. Like it never actually, but there's doors in the middle, but it never breaks. So it's all one corridor. Mount Pleasant was built as one corridor and things branching off of it. So literally you don't have to go outside. You can walk into any bit of Mount Pleasant, like the main complex, and you can get to another bit without going outside.
Do you know what I think we should do? And that we should liaise with Media Ops on this. We should do a skateboarding or roller skating thing. I'm up for that. I've got 1980s roller skates in my garage. Yes. I went to all the roller discos when I was a teenager. Yeah, that's exactly the moves I was making. We could do it, and we could if we coordinated it right.
Does it
people
have the
open
ridgy
doors.
bits though between the doors that we're all going to fall over?
Probably.
Yeah, well, we
That
can
would be
go.
fab.
Just jump.
I'd love to do that. There needs
Yeah.
to be a good roller rink here. Roller rink? Is that a thing?
Oh, let's just stick it onto the list of everything that they need to do so far. So we went to a meeting earlier on in the week, didn't we, Thomas, about them looking at the education building
Yeah,
and
you
the
found
schools.
that far more interesting than I did. It broke me.
It's very difficult because what they're looking at is to build a new school in the future or extend the school, whatever they're going to do. And that's great, but that's a couple of years away at least.
I think
And
the
the
planning of
problems
it's a
are
couple
now.
of years ago.
Yeah, the problems are now.
But everything takes so long here in terms of building stuff because there's a lot of like the local labour and stuff. There isn't enough labour for the jobs.
I think
And then
I
it's getting it
interviewed.
over from overseas, and it's all like the cost of doing that. Is it worth it? I don't know.
I think I interviewed a project manager once who said, "Look, the thing is, you order like 10 door frames or something, and only 9 turn up. You've got to wait, and it's not until the boat actually gets here and they're off the boat that you go, oh, I need another door frame." And then by the time you've
But it's
ordered it, it's on the next boat. It's going to be a couple of months
It's
before it comes.
Funny you should say it because I was speaking to someone at the pub last night who was saying that the building work on the cinema will be done by a certain amount of time, but they're going to be waiting for the roof for an extra 3-4 months. So it's not all the interior will be done. It's just waiting for that last bit,
Yeah.
which puts it all off.
Anyway, what's going on this weekend? Oh, the golf. We are actually know about it before it's happened this week.
It's on the Saturday and the Sunday. I was speaking to Mr. Man at the garage, my friend. He's going in for it, and he was saying it starts at 1 o'clock on the Saturday, and then Sundays are, I think, 11. But he was also saying that if the weather is not very nice, they're going to combine it all in one day, so they're going to do 36 in one.
Now listen, for golfers, who
One full
I've
day.
got a lot more respect for after filming on last weekend, how on earth, because it was absolutely blowing a hoolie down at that golf course, and I said, oh, this feels like terrible conditions to be playing golf in, and he's going, oh no, this is fine. I'm like, my goodness me.
Was that a local chap?
Yeah. You know when you get on an aeroplane and the pilot says, oh, it's going to be a little bit bumpy as we go over such and such, and you think, yeah, it's going to be really bumpy. It's that kind of thing.
Downplaying it because
Yeah.
so used to it.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the NPC guys thought that the course was going to be in worse condition than it actually was. They were expecting sheep to be walking across and this and that kind of thing. And they actually turned around and said, well, there's worse golf courses in Scotland than there is here.
really?
And they were really impressed with it.
Oh, that's nice,
So
because there were some
it's
very
and they'll
good
be coming down
golfers.
to the tournament, actually.
And I think
so
that goes
it'll
to
be
show the
interesting.
classic Falkland Islands preconceptions as well.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, it has to be awful.
It's
the
all right.
Falklands.
There's some good golfers there. Although I did speak to Troyd once, and he was saying that the local golfers here probably wouldn't get down beyond 4 because of the wind and everything else like that. But they had some golfers on last weekend who were on like scratch and stuff like that. And that the badminton player who played, Doug, I mean, he was ranked 3rd in Scotland, or
3rd in Scotland and 21st in the world, or 20th in the seeded 20.
so
Something crazy.
What, golfer?
badminton player.
Badminton player.
Yeah.
Oh, was he really good, was he?
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, but the basketball got me because they turned up and the basketball, they were warming up, and you could already see, couldn't you, that the Stanley team, they were really regimented, weren't they? And you know, they were doing their drills like they would in the week.
But it was obvious they'd spent hours and hours on the court practicing. Do you know, compared to not to kind of, what can I say, slag off? Probably not.
Well, you just
the NPC team, but you could tell that the players there was double the manpower on the Stanley team, and B, you could tell that they'd worked together before and they'd actually practice because they're all doing all hand signals and blah 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 and caca and this and that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the NPC team were a bit like, huh, what's going on? They're getting all frustrated.
There's that one guy standing a halfway line and just sort of aimed it roughly and just went, and it was straight in the net. It was. I really like it.
But they proved height doesn't matter. Height doesn't matter.
Height does not matter.
What was the tallest person on like average height for the Falklands team?
Oh gosh, I can't remember his name.
Oh, it's the
guy from
lawnmower man.
from Lithuania. I can't remember his name. But I mean, he's not like 7'5". He's.
But they had some really tall players on the NPC team that were looked like basketball players.
But it was a really, I'm not a sports person, as you know, but I really enjoyed the whole weekend. I think it was really, really good. And the football score at the end.
God, ridiculous.
It was a good way to end it.
9-0.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, 9-0.
It wasn't a fair contest.
But also that annoys me with that football pitch is that the football always goes down the ditch. They need to get some sort of mesh or something to
It scares
stop
the horses that are down there in that little.
Yeah, the number of balls, I think 2 or 3 ended up in the governor's garden in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. Then you have to go
Well,
in.
did you play? You didn't.
No, I didn't play. I sat at the top and watched. It was a very nice way to end my weekend.
And we had a very nice pasty made by Mrs. Fenn.
Yeah, I made a pasty. Now that's that's
That was a
coming
great
up.
way to end the weekend.
Yeah, that's coming up, listener. In the next few weeks, we've got James who came and made some pasties for us. Because if you've listened to previous episodes of Meanwhile in the Falklands, you'll know that we had an email from a viewer who said it's pasty week, and I misread the email, thought it was the 25th of January. So Katie and I arranged for James to come to my kitchen on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock and filmed him making pasties, to then find out it was actually 25th of February. So, but it's all sitting there ready, and he's done this pasty recipe, which is dead easy.
Pasties are great because you can put any filling you want in there.
Yeah.
Do you know, you don't have to necessarily do the traditional potato and beef and stuff like that. You can do really cool things. And I remember, because I went to the uni in Cornwall, as we probably all know and I talk about a lot, but they used to do like Christmas pasties. So they'd have like Christmas dinner fillings and stuff, and cranberry and turkey and things like that. And actually, although they sound a bit odd, they're quite nice.
Yeah?
That sounds quite nice. Talking of Christmas, because obviously it's February, I went to the West Store and bought some Christmas pudding ice cream cones last night, thinking they'd be delicious. They were not.
Oh no, bitter disappointment.
They were
I
not.
forgot to mention another thing. Valentine's Day coming up.
Oh yes,
Valentines.
next Thursday.
Any plans?
No. Any plans?
Nope.
Any plans?
Nope.
Right, so we all need to go on Twitter then.
Does anyone want to take us all out for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, there we go. That's what you can do. Send us some chocolates. I'm sure there's a chocolate
I'm
company
going to
out
stay
there.
at home and eat ice cream and
Do you want
watch,
some mince- do you want some mince
watch
ice
Love Actually and
You can have my mince pie.
Have you
ice cream
noticed
cones.
in the gift shop or the cap stand, they've got they normally have all the penguins out the front, the soft toys for like the tourists and stuff. They've just kind of shoved some heart balloons and things next to them just to kind of rework them as Valentine's.
Get
Can
them
I
into the
just say
Valentine
now, for the
spirit.
record, for the tape, I've never had that kind of thing. No, I've never had like.
It's a good thing your
got a sad
hubby,
look on
your
her
hubby
face.
gets back on Monday, so we'll drop him multiple hints that he.
Well, when
needs
we
to
lived in
really
the UK, he used to say, "I don't need a special day," because he's an accountant, and he said, "I don't need a special day to tell you I love you," which is true. But also he was well aware that the prices of flowers just went up astronomically around the 14th of February.
But I think a lot of men are like that, and even as a woman, I think on Valentine's Day is a day where they just whack up the prices. It's commercial. It's a money making.
Quite sad, isn't it?
Do you know why? Why would you need to be told to tell someone that you love them on a certain day?
Yeah.
You should be doing that all year round.
Now let's have a look at next
Glad
week.
you guys promoted that.
Next
Fight
week,
in my corner.
you're speaking to the lovely Joan Spruce on Monday morning.
Yes, I am, about a new book. That's all I know. I'm quite excited about it though. She's
Yes.
done a new exciting book.
Yeah, so her current book is called Diddle Dee and Wiregates, which she did in collaboration with someone. I can't quite read the name. It's in our bookshelf there.
I might try and get
On
her
all
to
sort of
sign a copy
Falklands
for me.
names. Yeah,
That would be
and
quite nice.
and this new one, which we have a forward copy here, it's not actually going to be in the islands until March, apparently. It's called Falkland Rural Heritage. It's actually, why am I surprised? Because it is, and she's a wonderful lady. It's a brilliant information on, this is me, look, going through the pages, look, can you hear? With some lovely pictures about...
Go on, do that again. I'll take a
people
photo
in-
for the podcast.
I'm not wearing any makeup
Oh,
now.
it doesn't matter.
Um,
You didn't wear makeup last week.
I don't wear makeup on a Friday, that's it. Yeah, just on all the rural places in the Falklands and a bit about them. It is actually a very good book and very informative, and I think FITV will be buying a copy to put in our bookshelf.
Yeah.
So we've got...
Looks like a far more interesting textbook than any of the ones I had at uni. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I've reattacked Eleanor Oliphant. You know, I was half reading that and then ditched it and then reattacked
Hannah,
it.
that was months ago.
Yeah, I know. Just in case anyone wondered what
Just
happened.
in case, yeah. You're sitting there going, has she finished that book? Who
Yeah, no,
knows?
I've reattacked it and I've realised it's quite an odd little book. I don't know, it's funny, but it's also quite depressing. And also I can relate to it, which is not very good. I'm a bit like, oh.
You're not selling it to me.
I know.
I'm
You
not
have
sold.
to, you have, when I finish reading it, you have to read it. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's
So,
funny. It's like Bridget Jonesy,
oh, is it?
but also a little bit like,
I'm reading a Jill Mansell, which I got from the library, because I
Is that
want to.
depressing as well?
No, I just want to support the library. It's no, of course it's not depressing. Which was one of the major questions at that meeting on Wednesday about the new education, is where the library's going, because they're talking about moving the library to use it for temporary. Not temporary. To use it for classrooms in the very short term. But where's that library going to go? And that is the big thing. And I think we've had this conversation before, haven't we, about where the library is going to go, because we can't be without a library, because the library is the heart of the community.
Do you think that many people actually use it though?
I used it when I
know
first
you
came
use
down
it,
here.
but
When I first came down here, before all my stuff had arrived on the ship, so we had no books and there's nowhere to. Well, there is. You can buy magazines, but they just cost a fortune and they're out of date. But if you go to the library, you can take out magazines, and they've got loads of stuff there, and DVDs. And the DVDs at the library you can have for a week, whereas if you hire them from anywhere else, they've got to be back the following day.
Can you not even get magazines in the Calvert?
You
not
can't
even
get. No,
noticed.
you can get magazines in the West Store. I think they do a lot of ordering, so you order it, and then they'll have it down, bring it down for you. But there's old magazines in the library. They've got Focus and Good Housekeeping, things like that, and they're really good. Colleen is just a font of knowledge. She's an absolute legend.
Even though you're
wonder
crying
if
for
you-
her job.
Even though I would love her job,
I wonder if you signed up for a subscription, whether they'd send it to the Falkland Islands
I don't know. I think you've got to
for a
pay overseas
magazine,
rates.
or would it be like extortionate postage?
Yeah.
Can you
Probably,
imagine?
and it'll probably take ages to get
Yeah,
down
you
here.
get it like 4 months later or
Yeah.
something.
Well, I don't know, I guess something like The Economist, though, only comes out every couple of months or something like
Should
that
be
sort,
right.
right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's only 4 times a year, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
well.
So what else have we got next week? What are you doing next week, by the way, Thomas?
I'm just working my Wales project.
Oh yes, so you went out with. Tell us a bit about that, because that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, so I went out with Falklands Conservation and Jérôme Ponce, the famous explorer, on their boat, the Golden Fleece, last year, to go and continue the work that Michelle started with Falklands Conservation, previous employee, on say whales. So I went out and did the next phase of that, and they've just started the third phase as well. So even though it's taken me a year to put this video together, it will be together.
It's going to be fantastic.
It will be nice.
Yeah.
It will be nice. Had some issues with the audio, which I think disrupted me from actually trying to do it, because it kind of breaks me that the sound on the interviews isn't great. So it means every time I look at it, I get so disappointed in myself that I turn it off.
I hate that when that happens. It like puts you off attacking the job. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, the audio, or like if it's one little niggly thing.
And there was two really good interviews outside that I can't do now, because now it's just wind noise, because the actual audio's gone and I didn't copy it over properly, because I came back from that trip, and then 2 days later I flew to the UK. So I came back from that trip and I was frantically packing and trying to get stuff across and finish things off, and Hannah and Katie had just arrived, so I was trying to like do inductions with them as well and try and be involved with everyone, and
we live and learn, we live and learn. I saw on Facebook, I think it was on the community board, they were saying that they'd spotted some whales in the in Berkeley Sound. So it sounds like the whale trips will be. Yeah. Well, you're going to Kidney Island tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to Kidney tonight.
So watch out for the whales, because you might see them.
I might see some whales. I might take some binoculars with me, I've decided.
Okay.
And go whale spotting. I would quite like to see some whales. I've seen them blowing off in the
distance.
What do you call it? What are they doing?
Here she blows.
Yeah, but what would you say? What's the technical term for it?
You have to say "thar she blows."
Thar she blows.
Yeah.
No, on the Concordia Bay, but I haven't actually seen anything.
Well, Baron posted the other night that he was sat on, other morning, so he was down on Surf Bay walking the dogs first thing in the morning, and he saw some fins, and I had a look. He was, oh, that's nice, and went back and tried to find what kind of whale or dolphin it could be, and he was like, that must be a really big dolphin. Turns out it was killer whales.
Oh wow!
With orcas off the coast of Surf Bay.
What do you call it when they blow?
It is called blow.
No, but is it called blowing off?
They're probably sneezing.
No, it's called blow. I was down Cape Pembroke, where the HMS Glamorgan Memorial is, and I was with somebody, I can't remember when we were talking about it, and in the distance you could see like this mist every so often coming off the sea. Going, what is that? And of course it's the whales, it's the blow.
And it was off Cape Pembroke last year before, the southern right whales.
Yes, loads, weren't they?
Yeah.
What was it that we were talking about the other day, well, a couple of months ago? That was
Classic other day.
Was it ambergris?
The
the expensive,
Sari was telling us about.
The sick from the whale that's worth like thousands and thousands of pounds.
Because it forms into a rare amber in their stomachs.
Did you? Yeah, it's super cool, and you can like find it on beaches if you really, really look hard. Apparently.
Right.
So everyone get down to the beach.
Yeah, we all know what we're doing this afternoon. We're going beachcombing for some whale sick.
But it's worth like millions because they use it for perfume.
Okay.
That was it, wasn't it? It's like for perfume and other things. They like extract bits from it. And
it was the scientists at Sari that were telling us about that, wasn't it?
Ah, yes. Right. Well, that just about comes to the end of this this week's podcast. In case you're wondering where Katie is, by the way, she's somewhere. She doesn't feel very well. She's
getting over a cold.
Absolutely stinking cold. So she's been told to stay away because we don't want it.
Exactly
that. No lurgies in the office.
No lurgies in the office. Listener, listening, watch along week 415. Hang on a minute.
I've forgotten about something.
What have we forgotten?
Your costume designing for... Oh, don't.
I've got to go home and do that. That's my job for this weekend, is making my costume. Yes.
Plug. Tell us a bit about
importance of being earnest. March 21st, 22nd, 23rd or something like that.
You were practicing your lines in the office yesterday.
I was, which we'll be doing in a minute while I wait for this podcast to export. So I don't think you're going to be out of it.
And next week we might even get you, Paula, to do a snippet of it.
I may
yes, that would be good.
We get you, Katie.
We can all read a bit.
Oh God, here we go.
Here we go.
Lovely.
So I'm sitting out next podcast.
Anyway, listener, if you want to send us free stuff, just send it to Paula at FITV, Falkland Islands. I want pens. Any kind of stationery, to be honest. I'm not fussed. and listen in. No, watch along with week 415
And
this
then
week.
like that
50 minutes.
Yeah.
Of
50
sporting
minutes
loveliness.
of FITV you'll get in
So
this
you
week.
actually get all of the results rather than just hearing about us running around corridors and all over Stanley.
You actually see the people in action.
See the people in action and see some of the results, because I
Yeah.
know Katie and Hannah worked really hard on that this week, so
Did
that'll be
indeed.
good to watch.
Did indeed. So, join in. Catch us next week.
Cheers.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.